Greetings, friends. The scriptures tell us, in Isaiah especially, that in the Messianic age, God is going to give sight to the blind. He's going to heal the deaf so they can hear. He's going to make the lame jump and run around with joy. So that's what the Israelites were looking forward to in this new kingdom. And in our today's gospel, we see that happening. Jesus is healing a deaf mute. Now, we have to understand that this is understood not just in a literal way, but in a symbolic way. Because the truth of the matter is, we have to see ourselves as this deaf mute. We hear a whole lot of things all day long, don't we? And our whole minds get cluttered with all sorts of data that we hear and which we see. And quite frankly, we filter that out and we interpret it according to the condition of our heart. In other words, we only hear what we want to hear, right? And then out of all this, hearing what we want to hear and seeing what we want to see, spews forth out of our mouth so much junk, right? Just think about all the things we see. I mean, sometimes I'm so embarrassed. I talk so much. Sometimes, I've said this many times. I feel like I'm just a pair of flapping lips all the time. God spare me and God spare you too. But what really comes out is also anger. It comes out nonsense. And at best, opinions. But opinions that's all there are, opinions. We all have opinions. And often when we talk our opinions, we get locked into combat with other people. Okay, so we don't know how to hear and we don't know how to speak. And that's what Jesus is saying here. It takes God a whole lot of work to get us to hear. And that's what we have in the gospel today, right? Jesus pulls this deaf mute away from the people, probably in seeing distance, but away from the crowd. He sticks his fingers in the guy's ear. And then he spits on his hand and touches the man's tongue with his saliva. I mean, this is getting kind of invasive, isn't it? I'm not sure about how comfortable I feel about this whole thing. He lifts his eyes to heaven and groans. And then he says, Ephata, open up. Now, Jesus didn't have to do all that stuff, okay? I mean, there are plenty of instances where he heals people just by a word or by a touch, or not even that. I mean, the centurion's son was healed without any of that. Why did he go through all this trouble? Well, if you look at the context in the Gospel of Mark, you'll notice that the religious elite and his own disciples were hearing him all the time, but they weren't hearing him. They had ears, but they were not hearing, right? And so Jesus is just telling us here that we really, really need to understand how difficult it is for us to really hear. We are that guy. And we often maybe think that, well, why is it so hard for me to speak goodness into others, to be able to speak about Jesus around others? Why? Because it's not authentic with us, and we know it. And so we just, especially Catholics, they just keep it to themselves. Ugh, okay? That's the opposite of the intention of the Mass, which means to be sent out, right? So, you're the only Jesus that people meet. Okay? We all know somebody out there, and I'm meeting him all the time. Well, I don't go to Mass anymore since COVID. Oh, okay. Well, COVID's over. How come you're not coming, right? So what we're trying to do here is to give you an opportunity to really reach out in an authentic way. It is called Walk with One Initiative. And we go out and we befriend somebody in a genuine way because we truly love them. Whether they're going to respond to us or not, that's not the point. The point is we're reaching out. Walking with someone and say, hey, listen, if you haven't been to the Mass for a while, I'll tell you why. This is the reason why I am still going. Okay? Or if it's somebody that you know really well and you can just pray about how you might be able to draw them into God's realm, the kingdom, because there's nothing better than that, right? And so, the Walk with One initiative, we're starting that out. We just did a 9-day novena on this whole thing, and that's coming to a close. Now, we really want to be able to speak and not be mute. See you on Sunday. God bless.